Hello everyone, on to the Trekyards mission briefing, your weekly Wednesday dose of all things Starship, ship related, Star Trek ship related. It's all good, Stuart. We talk about any ship from the mass multiverse of Star Trek, from games to movies to TV to comics to animated. It's a plethora of Star Trek ships. But Stuart, what are we doing today, and why is it going to be so cool?
Well, as you guys know, this is the continuation of our look at Star Trek Online ships. We've got a few more, of course, because we're down to number 3 now. So we got another one for this to finish out the month, but that's next week. So look forward to that. This one should have actually probably been the first one, I think, because it's the Kortar class. Kortar class. But it sounds like quarter, so only like 1/4. So it should have been the first one. Anyway, it's a Klingon ship.
But it's the third quarter.
Yes, but it doesn't. It's not the third Kortar class. It's the Kortar class.
See,
Kortar.
we go into this blind, and Stuart just knows a joke. Just, he is a funny man. I love it.
It might not be considered funny by some people.
Well, you've conditioned me, haven't you, at this point? Right, the Kortar class. We already dealt with the Klingon, but it's a very different sort of Klingon design. The last one was the new KDF flagship. This is something very different. So, won't go into what it is yet, but first reactions, what do you think? Remember, this is Star Trek Online, 2409. Yeah, what do you think?
It looks like a Batmobile or a Batwing.
Ooh, it does, doesn't it?
It does. It's even got the black coloring. I love that black look, though. I mean, it's like a stealth vehicle. I like that. The red and orange just really pops on the black. I think it looks fantastic. But seriously, you look at that middle part and take off the front boom, maybe, and you got yourself a Batwing.
And really a pretty cool Batwing as well, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's Star Trek Online. Obviously, they're pushing the boundaries of what we consider Star Trek. I mean, this is Klingon-esque, but it has to be its own aesthetic. So I think this is sort of pushing a little bit away, not in a bad way. For me, it doesn't resonate Klingon as much. That said, the reds definitely feel all the hallmarks are there, and there's, but all the things all the lighted bits intrigue me. And I'm sure we'll get into them at some point, but I'll straight away ask you, what do you think those red bits are? The 6 red spots either side? Because that's an odd. Yeah.
Some kind of weapon thing, like a Gatling torpedo launcher. There you go. That'd be kind of cool.
So a gunboat with that'd be cool, wouldn't it? I mean, multiple missile torpedo launchers. Oof.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, those front vents, I mean, they obviously look like vents, but at the same time, they look like, let's say, the impulse engines on the Intrepid class.
Yeah.
They look very impulsy. Maybe it can impulse backwards.
Well,
very fast.
Is that something they should have done already, to have multiple impulse drives throughout the ship to increase maneuverability? I mean, radical stopping, in terms of stopping it much quicker. Is that something that ships should have?
That's interesting. Well, it depends on the size of the ship, I guess. Maybe for like a smaller fighter-type craft or something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
But then you would think just RCS thrusters would be enough, especially considering there'd be future RCS thrusters.
Yeah, that's true, too. That's a good point, though.
Unless, obviously, I mean, the Vorchar, the front pod, was sort of meant to come off. So what if this ship is designed to have a dual purpose? Maybe we say source separation, but it's designed to split the first module and then it goes backwards. And because, I mean, warp engines, surely there isn't a right way for warp engines. They can go either way. It's a bubble. They're not producing thrust. So could you not go backwards at warp? That's a good quick. So can you go backwards at warp? Could you turn the ship around and warp backwards?
People will have problems with that because of deflector dishes.
We should do a podcast on that, shouldn't we? We should. I've never thought about that as a concept.
Maybe that's why the Federation class Dreadnought has that big sensor dish at the back. Maybe it is a deflector, and it's one of the only ships that can warp backwards.
And then the Foley class,
I don't know.
The famous Foley class, the infamous Foley class, then revolutionised that and made it an everyday occurrence. Then it got cancelled because it was not very popular after one season.
Right.
I just watched Firefly. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. If I was to tell you, because I'm looking at the seesaw picture now, if I was to tell you more about the ship, it would give away its size. So we're not going to hit that just now. We're going to go in with even more ignorance, and I want you to guess with me what you think the scale is based on this, and then we'll go to the next picture. What do you think?
Well, based on this, Just looking at that forward boom section, it's very reminiscent of like the Bird of Prey and things. So I'm thinking it's not super huge. Maybe. I was going to say Bird of Prey size, but which Bird of Prey now?
Which era Bird of Prey as well?
Exactly. I'd say it's bigger than the one in Star Trek 3.
Yep.
I
the irony being, I didn't include a Bird of Prey in a scale chart. So can you compare it? Say take TOS Connie. How big compared to that? Because everyone knows roughly how big that is. Bigger, smaller, twice as big, half as big. Because there is one in the next scale chart. So.
Probably half the size of the Connie. I would guess. It's not. I don't think it's a big ship. Just
okay. Well, Stuart, go to the next picture.
Can I go to the next picture?
You were bloody well perfectly on. Spot on.
Oh my god.
That's exactly
Nice.
right. It's not a big ship, and you might guess by the picture and the ships I've chosen to include, this is the Tactical Pilot Raptor, the Kortar class. So this is the Raptor class of the 2409 era, which surprised me given how it's basically the same size as the Raptor from Enterprise, which is its predecessor, I suppose, or I guess, yeah. And what do you think about that, it being a Raptor class?
I like it. Again, it's a good name. It's a good name for a Klingon ship, absolutely, and especially considering it's a smaller kind of, I would guess, stealth type vessel.
Well, I'll read out the description in a minute, but we'll talk about the scale and I'll let everyone in.
Well, it's bigger than a Nova class, which is surprising. I didn't really expect that. I expected it to be well. Now looking at the Nova that it's on the list, I would have thought it would be about the same size as a Nova.
Okay.
And it's close. It's very, very close. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
it just surprises me. It's actually the same size as a D7 as far as length goes.
Yeah.
Or Katinga, sorry.
Yeah, the scaling with earlier ships is always tricky. The D7, the Katinga, and the D5. It's like, oh no. But these are all the canon models. I always say all the canon models except the Negvar and the Katinga. Oh no, that is the Katinga. That is DS9 Katinga. It's not huge, but it certainly fits into a fleet role. I think later in DS9 we really only saw the same ships. I mean, a Bird of Prey can't be every role in the fleet. It really can't be.
No.
And they can't really mass produce Vorchars given the jump in size. So you need other class of ship, which this obviously falls into. But let me read you the STO description. It is the Tactical Pilot Raptor, the Kortar class. Klingon Raptors have always been among the most manoeuvrable and powerful ships in the quadrant, but recent advances in technology have shown that even the most feared of ships can be improved upon. Therefore, a team at Glendon Station, pronounce it as you want, have developed designs for new warships intended for captains who value speed as well as firepower. These small, nimble ships have the power needed to take on even the mighty heralds, but the speed needed to escape danger in an instant. That's basically what it is. So yeah, so obviously a high maneuverable, high speed craft, and obviously you've got the evolution of technology. So you wouldn't assume with this picture that back to the scale that the original Raptor is that maneuverable, but given 200 years of advancement, this one is going to be hugely maneuverable. So what do you think about
that? Well, that goes back to the whole impulse engines on the front thing and making it maneuverable. I'd said if it was smaller like a fighter, it would definitely work. So maybe that is the case. I mean, I can't see Klingons putting impulse engines on the front because that implies some kind of withdrawal, retreat, and I really don't think they're impulse engines. So don't get me wrong, guys. I know everybody's going to be screaming at me in the comments. They're not impulse engines. I understand that. They look like impulse engines, and we're speculating that they could maybe be. It would be kind of cool. But yeah, as far as a nimble craft goes, especially for the time period we're talking about, the technology that we have, to have it that size, I absolutely love that. I mean, back in Enterprise Day, that was a pretty big ship.
that was the biggest. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So totally different technology now. That's one of the smaller ones, and I'm sure it's very nimble and very agile. It could definitely fly circles around some of the bigger Federation ships.
And obviously we see, I mean, the Dominion War is obviously the closest we see to the 2409. The Negvar is still going to be around as a reasonably hearty warship. So it's a pretty, the scale is a lot different, but I can still see it being pretty damn powerful. If you can concentrate, give it the highest end of photon torpedoes, you can still deliver a lot of punch. If you only have, say, 2 disruptor cannons on the front, but channel all your power into them. But really advanced ones, you can still deliver a lot of power, as opposed to like the Enterprise Zero bird of prey with like 9 guns, the Negvar again, lots and lots of weapons. If you focus it, and then give it the speed to maneuver, that will be, it's almost, is it a strike craft, or is it? I guess it would sort of fill that role, wouldn't it? You send a fleet of these in, you do an attack, or you get out of dodge quick. So reconnaissance maybe. It's I guess it's like a heavily armed reconnaissance as well. It's a ship that can get into a fight, and relay information, and also can escape pretty quickly.
Yeah. So I think this is something you'd see working in packs, much like you see the Bird of Prey doing in Deep Space Nine. I'm sure they'd be sent in small squadrons, or conversely, kind of like what you just talked about, being a patrol ship, patrolling around sensitive installations or borders. If they get into a skirmish, they can handle themselves, but they can also get out of there quick to call in reinforcements and things. So, yeah, I can totally buy that.
Did you, obviously not at the time, retconning and the extra ships, but would you have liked to have seen, and do you think it would have been needed to have seen more classes of ships in the Dominion War for Klingons? Was it realistic to only have 3 types of ships?
I think considering the warrior species or the warrior race mentality, I would think you'd see more classes of ships in that kind of situation. Although that being said, the Klingons tend to stick with the design for a long time, as we know with the D7 and the Katinga. Yeah. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's a good warship and it does its job, just upgrade it, keep it maintained, and you're good to go. So at the same time, I can see them working with the designs that work, which could be fewer. I mean, the Federation does have a wide variety of designs compared to the Klingons, I would imagine. But I don't know. As a warrior species goes, you'd think they'd try to develop newer technologies as far as weapons advancements and stuff goes. So who knows what they could have. But
if you look at the evolution of the TNG time period, it was about getting bigger. Everyone was trying to get that next big ship. So the Negvar was a reaction to that. And I guess if the primary class of ship was the Bird of Prey for one role, Vorcha for another role, D7 or Katinga for another role, once you've built them for 50 years, 100 years, 200 years if you count Enterprise, but we shouldn't count Enterprise of that type, then, these fleet yards can churn out, dozens? I mean, you've got all the parts, exactly how to do it. It's old hat. And you can still iterate on the design in internals. I mean, why would you design a slightly faster middle ship when you could just build 3 Bird of Preys for the same cost of design? You've already got 12 shipyards building them, especially in a war. And considering they had the Civil War in TNG, which obviously lessened the strength, and then you had you had all these things that didn't need the Empire, I guess, to want to iterate more, build more of the same. So maybe the fact that we saw all the same designs was a testament to the fact that all the other ships, they got destroyed, or maybe sent on so specialist missions that they really can only throw out the basic, cut and paste ships for the big battles. But they had them to spare because they had hundreds of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that being said, they would have parts left over from older ships that they could throw together, hobble them together into a new version of the ship, and just send it out to battle. Yeah. Because we know the Federation was scrambling with that at the time too, using old parts from Galaxy classes that they didn't have assembled. So. Yeah. Yeah. But
the wrong era, isn't it, Stuart? So let's go on to the next scale picture to get back to this ship.
Yes.
Side view.
Oh.
Different perspective. As we all know, length does not determine a ship's internal space. So there it is, compared. And I was surprised by this shot. It's so similar to the Enterprise Raptor in everything. I was really blown away, actually.
It's hard to see it, to be perfectly honest with you.
It's a very compact side view.
Yeah, plus the black background.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's like Nova class size as far as crew complement and stuff would go to. So.
Well, I would assume they'd probably. I mean, there's no science labs. They would be able to you put that room towards bunks, and you can fit more people in a Klingon bunk than a human bunk because we actually have space. So I'm sure it's probably 150, 200 maybe. That's probably not 200. I mean, the Nova's like 85, so 150 probably, something like that.
Yeah, I could buy that.
But I mean, what do you think about the idea that? I mean, I know this is obviously their homage to the previous design. This is them using parts, and we'll talk about that design in a second. But what do you think about scaling it almost exactly the same as a ship that was 200 years ago, when everything was smaller?
Again,
does that seem off to you a little bit?
It does, but then again, it depends on the purpose of the ship. I mean, if it is just a smaller patrol ship, you don't need to have it big. And I don't know if that's what they were going for with this design, but It does seem odd, though, that the ship that it's kind of designed after is it's exactly the same size.
Well, we'll get back to the STO description in a second, but it does say, like, as I said previously, the Klingon Raptors have always been the most movable and powerful ships in the quadrant, and they want to make it even more speed as well as firepower, so small, nimble, and the power to take on even the big ships. I don't know, I know the Defiant's so small, so a strong attack does not have to be in a big package, but I feel like the eras should make it a tad, like 20% bigger, like just a notable jump, Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit bigger would have made me happier, I think. Yeah. Absolutely.
Nitpick, I know, but it's just intriguing. Yeah. But the next picture is the STO thing. That's where we got the information from, so you guys can read that again. Tactical Pilot Raptor. That's a cool name, and it certainly implies this is a fast response attack, tactical ship.
All right, well, let's move into some more detailed pictures. And again, we'd like to thank Z Films for getting these close-up, high-res pictures for us, because it's some fantastic stuff. Okay, so we got a shot from... This is a very odd shot, It's hard to tell what you're looking at.
I gave him a rough idea of what I wanted. He did some interesting shots. Yeah. I love how suddenly you zoom in this close and the scale suddenly feels so much bigger, doesn't it? It feels much more menacing, but we know it's a teeny ship in relative, although you do get to see the windows, so you get the windows on top of the command module. There's a lot of detail in this ship, which you didn't really see from any other shots. What do you think?
Well, I think the bridge module is interesting.
Absolutely.
I mean, it follows the Klingon design of just having a bridge module just up and out there. But the other ones seem like there's more to it than just the bridge. This one, just with the size, it just seems like it's just bridge.
Or like one long room with like a table at the back for commanding, but just literally one big room. Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't seem... I'm kind of disappointed with the size, to be honest.
Well, one big room with a turbo lift at the back. I mean, come on, every single Federation ship is one room. What are you talking about, Stuart? It's a classic.
I know. It just looks odd on this small of a ship. It should be internalized, like in the front forward pod or something, you would think.
Yeah, well, if anything, that's a good point, because we know the scale of the ship, and though that neck is not huge by any means. No. So if that is the bridge, that's actually more maybe like Defiant bridge. So I mean, the Defiant and Nova are about the same size. This could be literally the teeny Defiant size bridge. But again, it's a tactical ship. I mean, that follows maybe.
Yeah, it serves its purpose. I mean, it's specifically sent out to do certain things. I'm sure it's not just a fly around in it for 3 years kind of ship.
Oh God, no! Doesn't that also feel modular? Like this ship was designed to be upgraded. Like they can just pull that pod out, put a new one in, a new bridge, update it, maybe make a big one that goes further along the spine for a different purpose. Maybe like that kind of feels a bit more plug and play than the average Klingon bridge.
Yeah, I can totally buy that. I mean, we know that the Federation does that kind of plug and play, and I think that for technology's sake, that's just the way to go. But yeah, this one does seem much more modular than other Klingon designs. Sorry.
Do you think that means the entire boom can come out? Maybe that entire front module, just like the Vorchar. I mean, it's not unheard of. But do you think that maybe that module is plug and play, or there's variation? I mean, as we know in Star Trek Online, they do have components that you can swap out. So I get that is obviously part of it. But in terms of the single continuity of the STO canon chipness, design-wise, I think that's probably also part of it.
Yeah. I don't see why not. I mean, yeah, different... Again, we've talked about this before with the Vorcha and stuff. Just different mission profiles, different pods with different equipment. Yeah, I think that's probably the way that the Klingons would go if they've done that in the past. So,
well, especially as we just mentioned, reutilizing old components. Yeah, build plug and play things, and you just have some lying around. A ship gets damaged, you can just plug in a new bridge.
Yep.
One thing that really sticks out to me here is those big cannons on the bottom left, and they look like beam cannons. They're very different to, say, the Bird of Prey, or they look like focused, strong disruptor beams. I mean, there's three barrels to 1 point. There looks like there's some meat behind it.
Yeah, and it looks menacing, especially with that like crystal right where it is on each side. Looks like I don't know, looks like a heavy disruptor or something.
Yep. Very heavy disruptor. And obviously you've got the smaller gun turret by the non-bridge bridge, whatever. Again, secondary weapons is good, but I think we should go to the next picture. It's a cool undershot. Again, different perspectives of a 3/4 bottom. I like how the curves. It's got a very... It's Raptor, but it's more elegant, I think. The design works better than the original Raptor, I think. In terms of how the wings are and how the shapes are. What do you think?
To me, it looks much more Romulan in design. I'm not just saying that to be a dick and do the whole bird of prey thing. It's... I've seen a lot of Romulan ships from Starfleet Battles and FASA, and it's just got those curves and those fins on it that make it look very Romulan-esque to me. So I don't know if this was another technology exchange with the Romulans.
No, they were blown up at this point. Romulus was already gone, so they're not exchanging with anybody. It's a Romulan theft. They've stolen the design idea. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I really like this, and with the different coloring and the different plating on it, is very. It's far removed from other Klingon ships that I've seen. Even the armor plating, it's not as feathered and textured.
No,
I mean it's as textured. It's a totally different design scheme. So I don't know if this is something that they've acquired from someone else, or that's kind of what I was going for with that. So
I think it's probably just a whole new design team. I mean, they said obviously people came together to build a new generation of Raptors, but I think it really is new minds. The minds that are stuck in, let's just build another bird of prey.
Young minds, fresh ideas. Be tight.
There you go. I think last thing I can see on this one is that they do have those turrets at the bottom, and boy is that a nice little homage to the Enterprise era. Although I don't like that they're there. I think it should be in the belly if you're going to put them anywhere.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
they do seem out of place there for sure. It loses the sleekness, if you will, by putting them there.
Yes.
But then again, I think those should be taken off, and I think the bridge module should be taken off. If I had designed this, that's what I would have done. I would have taken those completely off and made it much more smooth, because it's a future ship. It's not an older ship.
Cryptic, Stuart knows better. Is what he's saying.
No.
On that note, I will just congratulate designer of this ship, Hector Ortiz, and this ship was modelled by Thomas Moroni, the famous Thomas Moroni that we've had on the show before. So thank you guys, well done, and we love you, so don't be annoyed at us. So next picture is the back view. Gotta say, I love these engines. I love these big red. It's very different, although the Negvar has got similar pieces, but they're not engines in the same way. But I love that amount of raw engine power there. What do you think?
Oh, I totally agree, and it's very, again, reminiscent of the Bird of Prey style engine at the back. It kind of has the combined, the red on the outside and the yellow on the inside. Actually, I got my little model here. It's kind of got that feel going on with the different colors and stuff.
Would not have guessed that. Huh.
You get a good shot of that in Star Trek 4, of course, when they're doing the time warp thing. So I really like that. I was thinking that. I wasn't going to do it.
Well, I'm here to do that when you won't, so.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Now, I see escape pods there, and they're exactly the same shape as the Federation ones, which I find very odd. It's almost like all the races now are working together and be like, all right, if you find an escape pod, it'll fit in one of your escape pod hatches. So you launch your perfectly good escape pod, tractor ours in, save the people, and then, I don't know. But then again, the Federation and Klingon are allies, so.
Well, they are some of the time in Star Trek Online. There's also Klingon War. Spoilers. Yeah, I think that's just texturing. They've just come to we're not going to model 5, 12, 18 races different worth of escape pods. But it's also a video game, guys. It's also a video game. Okay, so the Bird of Prey, the Klingon Bird of Prey, has an aft-mounted warp drive system, and that's in the back. The Raptor has wing-mounted. This has what looks to be both. I mean, you've got what you assume is the familiar red Bassard, I guess yellow warp coil of the nacelles, but you've also got big red somethings and a big yellow middle something and then a red something on top of that yellow something. What does that all mean, Stuart? Because, I mean, does it have 2 warp drives? That seems ridiculous to me. Does it have a lot of impulse? I mean, what could this be? Theorise with me, Stuart. They
Don't
are.
ask me. I just captain here. I don't know. I don't know these things. Ask Thomas Maroney. He'd know.
I will do. We will do.
No, I would assume. Again, it's a bad thing to assume, but the large red parts would be like the warp coil elements, much like the nacelles of the Federation ships.
Right.
I've always kind of considered the orange part or the yellow part of the bird of prey like to be like its impulse drive, but it could tie into the warp core as well, because the smaller one at the top could equally be the impulse drive on this as well. The smaller red one, I mean, above the yellow one. So I don't know. It all works together. It's all one system.
Well, yeah. I mean, my gut says the red's the warp, the yellow is the impulse. But then, I mean, to be fair, maybe to generate the super high-end warp drive, it needs to have 2 warp sustainer points to generate the field to make it super stable.
But the thing is, this one does have warp pods on it, like warp nacelles.
Yeah.
So is the main part at the back there all impulse? Because that'd be ridiculously overkill. Or does it all tie in together to make the warp field? Like, I don't understand how this really works, because there are nacelles on this, which is a departure from the bird of prey. Unless
you could argue that going against the color palette, the red on the nacelles is the facade collectors, the yellow is actually the pods that the hydrogen and whatever is collected in, which then feeds into the back. So it's designed to last super long mission profiles if need be. So it can, I mean, if you're running a reactor maybe extra hot, needs more fuel, you can take in more fuel, store it better, and then put it straight into the back as the reactor.
Yeah, I can sort of see that. There's a direct line just straight through the ring, right to the warp engine systems at the back there. So I don't know.
But you can see the departure and the problems we're having with that, can't you guys? In a good way. It's intriguing. But Stuart, the next picture is the front view.
Ooh.
That's a bit odd, isn't it?
That's one way to put it, yeah.
It's not what I thought it was going to look like from the front.
No, me either. First of all, yeah. I didn't really think that the wings angled up, but I mean, looking back at the other pictures, I'm like, why didn't I think that?
Yeah,
I just assumed it was more straight, I guess.
Yeah, I'm surprised how little.
Do you think they articulate? Probably
yes.
Not.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought they were more up than that. That's kind of surprising how flat they are. It's a teeny ship, and this is not a. This angle is very un-Klingon. It reminds me of many other races of ships.
Looks like an Andorian design almost.
Well, yeah, a little bit. If you change the colours to sort of silvery blues, yeah, actually, that's yeah, okay, fair enough.
It does. I'm just saying. I do like the color palette though. The black and the red really, and the yellow just pop. I really like that. But again, it doesn't say Klingon to me at all. I don't know.
This angle anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, just the color scheme in general doesn't say Klingon. Well, let's take a look at it from the back now, and let's see what we got going on back here.
Reminds me of another non-Klingon ship that I think I'll put a picture in here of the view.
Again, I like it. It's very cool, but I would not say Klingon if I saw this. If you just showed me this picture from this angle and said this is the back of a ship, what race? I'd be like,
well, yeah,
I don't know.
I would have said this is the front of the ship, personally. That would have been cool if it was the front with all those glowy bits of like disruptors or the middle bits of docking bay or something, just with super neon. The doors are really neon. I don't know.
Well, the yellow could be the deflector, and then the red.
Oh yeah,
the red could be the bizarre collectors on the sides there.
But it's not. But that's a lot of engine power. I mean, it's got 3 red bits at the top plus little yellows. I mean, that's a lot of. You can tell she's a speed machine.
Indeed. Now, I didn't see anywhere else that could have this, but is there shuttle bay on this thing?
I can't imagine, unless it was like an NX-01 style drop down. I can't imagine.
Okay.
there would be.
Yeah, it is kind of small. So. Huh. Okay. Well.
Well, I think you're right. This is almost the fighter size compared to those huge ships we saw. Last week or week before, the big. This is the fighter almost. It's not really, but it almost is. But the next picture is the last picture. Is the first picture. Is that 3/4 view? So now we've gained understanding of the ship, possibly, sort of. What do we think? Closing thoughts.
Again, this says Batman to me. This is the Batman race. No, from this view, if you show me this ship, I'd be like, it's a Klingon ship. But there are other views, and the colors palette just doesn't say. Well, the red does, but it doesn't really say Klingon to me as. But I like it. I mean, if you painted this the same as the Bird of Prey, like with the greens and the black detailing, I think it would look fantastic.
Ooh. Actually, yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I do like the black. I just don't think it works as a Klingon ship in the Star Trek universe with the black.
It looks like a future Klingon ship. Like next gen. Like they've got some bits, but it's mostly a new design aesthetic. Which is what the future is. I mean, the D is a similar but new design aesthetic to the Connie, so...
And maybe the reason they went black is because they're cheaping out on cloaking devices and they just paint it black because space is black, no one will see us.
Stuart, you're right. And there's something called stealth mode, or their cloak, where they just turn all the neon lights off, because there's a lot of them.
Yes.
Invisible. Or to be fair, they just put the neon lights as black. Black light.
Sure. Black lights. Ooh, that's cool.
So, I think one last thing. I think you can see now the Raptor influences more now that you know that was the style. I mean, the engines are the nacelles are very similar. The front bit, I mean, it's clearly stylized after that, but obviously its own version. I mean, it's nicely original despite, just taking those elements. And the frontal torpedo launcher and such. I still don't know what those red dots are though. I still don't know.
It could be anything. It could be a new weapon source. Who knows?
I feel like we've gone to the episode and not learned much more.
No,
this is like
and that's odd because usually we come up with some cool stuff, but
it's more mystery. I've still got questions. I've still got.
Yeah, but
it's kind of
I just
weird.
want to mention something real quick that I talked about with the picture of it from the back. In this shot, it does not look like those wings angle up. It looks like they're pretty much straight. That's why I got that in my head. I think from the first picture we saw.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Yes, I like it too. And that is it for this week's Trekyards. Thank you so much, everyone who tuned in, enjoying our Star Trek Online month. Hopefully you are. And if you're screaming out, all this stuff, and you fly this ship, we are sorry. But it's a first review of these really interesting future Star Trek Online ships. There we go.
Alright guys, so if you liked the video, please click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe because we've got daily goodness coming at you. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. A lot of stuff planned. We got guest stars and everything. We got a whole bunch of great stuff. So
we do a lot of stuff, Stuart. We
do. But it's all worth it because I love doing it. It's fun to do, and everybody else out there gets to enjoy it. So.
We love you all.
Yes, we do.
And if you want to support this show, there's two ways of doing it. The Trekyards.com. Click that donate button and give a one-time donation towards the running of the show, keeping the lights on, keeping us designing and doing new things. Or Patreon, our monthly scheme, which a lot of YouTubers use to help them out, to just help production costs, as everything takes time and money. So if you want to help the show, go to patreon.com/Trekyards and give even $5 a month a cup of coffee.
Even $1 a month. If everybody gave $1 a month, we'd be happy.
It is that simple. So if you want to support us, you can, and it's pretty easy to do, and everything goes towards the show, and you get more show for it. So thank you in advance, and if not, just share the show and enjoy it. That's all we ask.
Absolutely. So until next time, guys, this is Team Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Coggins.
Saying see you in the future.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.